felt good. It's a lot easier to do this when you're lighter, you know that?
It is. It is.
Yeah. Okay, guys, so let's talk about the applications of changing levels. Changing levels is a very complicated template, but it's complicated because there's so much material there. The theme is the same as the others, getting off the line of fire. In this case, for one reason or another, you just don't have the luxury of lateral movement. So it's all vertical movement, vertical displacement. Again, the idea is to not get shot. And if all you have is changing your level, i.e. the name of this template, then at least you do that. Okay? So we're going to talk through the template, what these moves are for. This could be a very, very lengthy presentation. We're going to try and keep it short, so that we don't get too long in the tooth about this particular template. Okay, so the first move, the incortada process, involves a very tight area where all Brent has is just some lateral movement ability. Think of a hallway. Think of
between two cars.
Between two cars. This was actually developed for a group of gentlemen that were our students that their area of conflict had a lot to do with linear conveyances, where you had a hallway and then the areas to the side were congested, such as trains and planes and things like that. So we worked on this for them, and they've had some success with it. Okay, so you see where Brent is being targeted. He's being targeted, as a matter of fact, right here like this, and this is the application. Okay, you're really cutting it close, but that's because of the dynamics of the situation. We like having a backup plan for everything. So when Brent moves out of the way, you figure where the bad guy is going to move his weapon, right across toward him. He's going to follow him. So he moves offline, he drops, and then if the adversary continues, he continues moving. So he's got a backup plan for every single one of these contingencies. All right, now let's go ahead and do it. Okay, again, we verify we're clean and all that jazz. Okay. Matter of fact, let's flip around because most of the action's on that side. Okay, guys, so this is what it looks like. Okay, I'm the antagonist. Brent's the protagonist. Bad guy, good guy. I draw toward him. He moves out of the way. I try and follow him, and he's always a step away. Human nature is going to be you move to where the target is. So he moves out of the way. Okay, I'm going to get him. He moves out of the way. I'm going to get him. He moves out of the way. All this time, he's had his muzzle on me, and he's been working the trigger. Again, the more lead he puts in my body, the less chance I have of actually recovering and catching him. So let's do that down, broken down nice and slow. So here's the first one, here's the second one, and here's the third one. All right, very good. Okay, I'll do the next one. Okay. Okay, guys. The next step in the changing levels template involves a movement where you're turning, taking a knee, okay, and shooting up into the angle. So, for example, hold on, Brent. I'm just going to demonstrate it here. So, I'm actually facing away from the camera. I step across this line of travel. I take a knee. I shoot up, and then I bring this down. I come back, and I point down. Okay. All right, so here's the application of this. We wanted to include this, one, for historical reasons, and the second one because it does have a lot of valuable applications. This dropping to the knee, whether it's straight ahead or behind you or whatever the case is. Exactly. All right, so we I don't know. You know what? I'm not going to talk about that. Okay. I'm not. Yeah, we'll cut that. We'll cut that part out. So here's an example. Okay. I'm here. It's a narrow area. I don't have the ability to go to the sides or anything else. And I hear a weapon being presented behind me or somebody moving toward me. This is what I got. All right. So this ability to turn and drop allows me to put some hits on my adversary without myself being hit. Let's move back a little bit more so that the camera catches the whole thing. And we'll just do the application here. Okay, let's do it again from this angle. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Good. What's the next thing that comes out?
So the next piece is dropping to the ground, and in the template we do this in a slow, controlled manner because that's what you need to do when you're learning this new skill, right? And what this looks like, right? We start with the gun is presented, right? I'm going to kneel, right, and drop and land on my back. And that's what you need to do in order to learn the skill, right? The reality of it is you may be dropping in a much faster manner, right? Kind of the same idea as we drop to the knee, right? As Gabe drops it, right? I land this way. Now, I prefer kneeling because it's a lot easier to get up, but you don't always have that for whatever reason, right? It could be that, you know, maybe he shoved me, right? Boom, right, and he's coming back and he's got a knife or a gun or anything. So this is one of the falling skills that people need to learn. And after that, right, we have this where we drop and deal with the problem here. Well, I may have a problem here as well, right? And he's close to me, right? And so if my shots don't immediately take care of that problem, I need to get up and move. So the method that we get up brings my body forward and away from him. This is very athletic. Not everyone can do it, but you know what? Life's not fair.
One thing I want to interject. A lot of times guys that do a lot of ground fighting, they'll look at this and they'll go, oh, that's not the way you get up, because if you get up like that, the other guy's going to, you know, kick you and all this kind of stuff. Look at it from the context that we're explaining it, okay? Brent is on the ground, okay? Stay where you are. The bad guy is not over here, okay? You know, throwing kicks at him and stuff like that. This bad guy has already been taken care of. The bad guy is now over here, all right? So, you know, Brent has put some rounds on board. Now, he cannot roll over on his stomach, okay? Because now is when we have these issues. He can't do that. He doesn't have the time, and it's not a tactically wise thing. He's not going to do this, the typical jiu-jitsu get-up from this position here either, or you know, what we call the Turkish get-up, all right? What has to happen is he's got to put ballistic damage on me, okay, and then get his face out of there as fast as possible, okay? That's the context of this method of getting back up to your feet.
So the other method of getting up is, you know, this method is when you have threats behind you, right? The other method is when you have a threat in front of you. So the same idea, you know, we practice the, you know, dropping down. And again, this may happen much more ballistically than what you see here. But now my threat is here, right? Boom, 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 right? And maybe he's done, but he may have friends, right? But my goal is to get back up as quickly as I can without bringing my head in range for that. So our get up, that's why we use the Turkish get up. My head is moving away from him. And then immediately we get up and we're moving. We don't like to stay still very often.
Okay? So this idea of going to the ground, this was a technique that was taught, or not so much this technique, but the concept was something that was taught back in the 1980s to law enforcement. And because there was so much focus on qualifying and so on, it was taught and then it was forgotten about, because it wasn't, you weren't going to use it on the range to qualify. You weren't going to use it in a competition or any of these things. So, like often happens, techniques that are designed for street fighting are often forgotten by people that don't street fight. But when we look at this, the situation here, it could be a number of things. Okay, number one, you lose your balance and you fall down. Guys, it happens to the best of us. Okay, you know, and it's happened to some of you guys. You've gotten up and then right away you look around, hope nobody saw that, dust yourself off, and pretend it never happened. But it happened. The second thing is anybody can be gotten. Anybody can be sucker punched. All right. So if you're hit and you get knocked down, but maybe you're not exactly look. If they knock you out, okay, you're knocked down. Sorry, nothing we can do about that. But if you're stunned, you're knocked down, but you're not out of the fight. This allows you to regain your feet. And finally, you may elect to go down to the ground on purpose for that vertical displacement application where you have no movement laterally. There's nowhere you can go, and so you want to change this level quickly so the adversary doesn't have success at shooting you. Okay? And again, these are things that we test in the force on force realm, and we have dramatic success when we apply them because they work and they operate inside the bad guy's OODA loop. Okay?
These are airbag techniques for car crash situations. I mean, you're presented with a problem. You don't have time to think. You just have to get out of the way and move. And that's what changing levels is about.
Okay? Let's do that one more time where, okay, so we're here like this.